I feel compelled to share this story because I believe it carries an urgent and vital message, one that stems from a near-death experience I endured. Jesus Christ revealed to me 4 major events set to occur in 2025, and I cannot remain silent about it, especially regarding the 4th event, which I'm certain will leave you astonished. I urge you not to overlook this warning. But before we dive in, I'd love to know where you're from, and if you've ever heard or experienced anything similar, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. If this story resonates with you, please like this video, and let's engage in an open-minded discussion while respecting all perspectives. Now let's delve into the story. My name is Teen, and I am 56 years old. There is one undeniable truth I've carried with me, no matter how much I've tried to move past it. Years ago, I was a rugby player, well known for my physical strength and achievements on the field. I lived my life based on logic and reason, believing only in what could be scientifically proven or clearly observed. I didn't put stock in abstract or intangible concepts. But everything changed for me 22 years ago when I faced a devastating loss, the death of my 7-year-old son, Atticus. At the time, I was deeply focused on my rugby career and couldn't afford to miss any games. When I heard Atticus was unwell, I dismissed it as just a minor fever. I assured my wife, Sarah, that there was nothing to worry about and told her I'd be home after the match. I turned off my phone, prioritizing the game over her concerns and my son's worsening condition. By the time I finally returned home, it was too late. Atticus had passed away. The emotions I felt in that moment were indescribable. To this day, I cannot forgive myself. How could I face my wife and other children knowing I wasn't there when my son needed me the most? This moment marked a turning point in my life, a regret I carry with me to this day. I believe I could have saved him, but I wasn't there. That sense of guilt has haunted me every single day, month and year since. Even now, 22 years later, I can't seem to escape it. After Atticus passed away, I couldn't continue with the work that had once been my passion and purpose. I walked away from my career in sports, leaving behind everything I had worked so hard for, the achievements, the recognition. All of it now feels meaningless. Losing Atticus stripped away everything that once mattered. The hardest part is coming to terms with the moments I missed with my son, all sacrificed for games that in hindsight meant nothing. My life spiraled into a dark void after his death. I shut everyone out, cutting myself off from the world. Even my wife retreated into her own pain. We still live under the same roof, but the bond we once shared has faded. It wasn't due to a lack of love, but the overwhelming grief we couldn't bring ourselves to share with one another. Both of us built emotional walls, locking away our feelings, and became consumed by sorrow and disappointment. Back then, my days felt like an endless cycle of emptiness. I found myself lost, unsure of how to move forward. My belief in life, the future, or anything at all seemed to vanish. Every morning, I woke up only to face yet another monotonous day, one where nothing ever seemed to change. Then on October 6, 2024, when life had all but lost its meaning, I decided to tackle something that had long been ignored. I decided to repair the roof, a task I considered minor and unimportant. I didn't think much of it at the time, certainly. Not that it would alter the course of my life. But as I stood on that rooftop, one wrong step changed everything. I slipped and fell. The feeling when I fell to the ground was nothing but a strong shock, and then everything faded into darkness, an absolute silence, as if everything suddenly vanished. No more pain, no more sound. The whole world suddenly went silent, and I felt nothing anymore. There is only darkness, emptiness. I feel as if I have sunk into an endless void where there is no time and no space. I don't know how long I lay there in the still darkness, but then suddenly, from the depths of nothingness, a faint light appeared. It's not glaring, but rather like a thin veil of mist softly gliding through my mind. And I, oddly enough, couldn't help but be drawn to it. That light, I can't describe it with ordinary words. It is neither the white light nor the yellow light that I usually see. It is a warm, translucent light, as if made from the gentle rays of dawn, yet it holds an endless sense of peace. I moved closer to that light, and as I did, it became stronger and stronger, yet still not unpleasant. It was like a wave sweeping over my skin, carrying away all the pain and anxieties that I held inside. And I suddenly realized that I was no longer afraid. All the worries I ever had and the pains that had clung to me for so long now seemed to have vanished into thin air. This feeling I have never experienced in my life. An absolute sense of peace, as if I am merging into the tranquility of the universe. Around me are gentle sounds. I can't clearly say whether it's music or speech. I just know that they feel like whispering reassurances, telling me that I'm not alone. Those sounds are like an unspoken song, a soothing balm that I need the most right now. Everything here is peaceful and warm. I feel like I'm coming home, as if I have found where I belong. In that light, I began to feel something changing in the space around me. At first, it was just a blurry figure, like mist fading away before the dawn. It slowly became clear, and my heart abruptly tightened because I realized it was Atticus, my son, but not the frail, sickly 7-year-old boy that I had lost. Before me was a perfect, radiant and bright Atticus, as if he had been reborn in the most perfect form, free of pain, with no scars. I can't hold back my tears. You stand there, gazing at me with your clear eyes, without a hint of anger. My son, the little boy, is no longer the child I missed out on so much, but rather an angel standing in the light, strong and serene. I stepped closer, my heart pounding in my chest, unable to believe that I had the chance to stand in front of my son once again. That hug is the hug that I've always longed for, always yearned for, throughout those sleepless years filled with regret and remorse. Dad apologizes to you, my little son. My voice caught in my throat. I held Atticus tightly in my arms, as if I never wanted to let go, as if time had stopped and I no longer had to suffer. And then his voice echoed softly, yet saturated with the forgiveness and love that I could never dare to hope for. Dad, don't be sad anymore, Atticus whispered, his voice soft like the wind, yet strong enough to melt my heart. I'm not mad at you, Dad. I'm very happy, Dad. I've been here in this place in peace. The whole world suddenly went silent. Those words from Atticus, simple yet deeply profound, stand as a reassurance that the love between a father and son never dies. I cried, but not because of sorrow. Those are tears of liberation, of forgiveness, and above all, of boundless love. I don't need to ask you about the past years, about the anger or regret. Everything had vanished. Atticus stood there, beckoning me back to the light, back to the peace that I had once lost. Sir, you are waiting for your father, Atticus spoke. Up and in that moment I suddenly understood. Your waiting, Lord, is for me, so that I may realize that it is never too late to forgive, to love, and to walk on the path of light. Atticus, my angel, is the precious gift that I never fully learned to appreciate, and he taught me the most important thing in this life. That is love, unconditional love, which always exists. Even when we can't see it. I hugged Atticus once more, and this time I wasn't just hugging my son, but also a part of myself, a part that I had lost long ago, a part I had just rediscovered in that light. The light envelops me once again, but this time it is not just light. It has a power, a presence that I can't fully describe in words. The feeling that the entire universe is converging into a single moment, like an eternal breath. My eyes are closed because the light is too bright, but when I open them, I see you, Lord Jesus, standing there closer to me than ever before. Never in my life have I felt such a powerful and sacred presence. His eyes, those eyes, are not like any eyes I have ever seen. They not only contain infinite love, but also a love that makes me feel completely accepted, without any judgment. I feel every wave of love, every breath of yours, pouring into my soul, melting away all the doubts and all the confusion that I have carried throughout my life. At that moment, I couldn't stand firm. I crouched down on the ground, not out of weakness, but out of the boundless respect I have for you. I couldn't contain my emotions, the tears of remorse and realization that everything I had ever thought about God was wrong, was insignificant compared to the great truth I was witnessing. Everything I once believed and understood now feels like dust. Jesus smiled, and the peace from that smile seemed to spread throughout my body. He reached out his hand as if to comfort me, and his voice rang out softly, yet filled with authority and strength, making it impossible for me to ignore. Elias, he called my name, and each sound of my name in his mouth was like a sacred melody, full of love. Witness the important events that will soon take place in 2025, which we will show you. Share it with the rest of the world, so they can prepare for what is to come. That statement is not just a command, but an invitation. He did not ask me to do anything, but instead, he entrusted me with a sacred mission, a responsibility that I feel is heavy, yet also one that is immensely honorable. What you are about to tell me is not something trivial, but events that will change the whole world. These events won't be easy, but I believe in you, Elias. You are ready. And in that moment, I realized that what I was about to go through was no longer just a personal journey. The first event that Jesus allowed me to witness was the great deception. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that scene. At that moment, I stood in the middle of a city that I recognized immediately, even though everything seemed vague and unfamiliar. It is a city like New York, full of lights and life. But right in those first steps, I sensed that something was off. It's like walking into a familiar place, but there's something strange about it, as if you've stepped into a dream, where everything is distorted. In the city, I saw it, a creature of light. The bright light surrounding it made me think that I had encountered an angel. But the more I looked, the more I felt that it wasn't right. The eyes of that creature are cold, lifeless, and devoid of any emotion. I know that this is not the light I once knew. That creature kept calling out, "Come here, I am the light. I am the one who will bring you the only happiness." Everyone around, they all looked in its direction, as if drawn in. That light not only blinds them, but it also takes away a part of their selves. Their bodies gradually become weak and exhausted, without them even realizing it. They are no longer themselves. They are nothing but shadows, emotionless figures, like puppets controlled by an invisible hand. My heart tightened when I realized that all of these people, they are being led into deception. They don't see what I see. Those eyes, those lifeless eyes, are no longer aware. They were taken by that light, and they were completely unaware. Jesus appeared next to me at that moment. He didn't say anything immediately, but I could sense the sadness in his eyes. He looked at me as if he wanted me to understand something that I hadn't yet realized. "Elias," he began, his voice soft yet full of authority, "what you see is not the true light. That is the great deception. It will sow confusion and darkness in the souls of those who are not careful enough. This light will cause them to lose faith in me, and they will drift further away from the path I have shown them. Every word you say is like a cut into my heart. I understand that what I just witnessed is not just a simple event, but a warning. The lights we see in this world are not always the lights that lead to life. Some lights are simply falsehoods, a deception to lead us astray. He looked at me once more, as if to make sure that I understood. "You have to share this with the world, Elias," he said. "Remind them that not all lights lead to me. They must clearly distinguish between what is true and what is false. If not, they will lose themselves. The golden light, bright and warm, envelops everything around me once again." Jesus pointed to a scene ahead. Suddenly, I see the people around me, the ones I had only heard about before, the ones who once rejected God. Now they are looking at Him. They no longer resist, no longer doubt. Their eyes, once filled with defiance and disbelief, now shine with awakening. As if a hazy veil had been lifted, they realized that it was not the things they had lived with all their lives that were the truth. They began to truly feel the light of God. He said to me, "This is the great awakening. Those who have rejected me will now recognize me. The dry hearts will be opened. The souls that have been obscured will be illuminated." This is also the second event that the Lord has allowed me to witness. The scene in front of me right now is truly magnificent. But not everything is as beautiful as that light. Although the awakening is spreading, along with it comes a wave of rage. I clearly see that those who refuse to accept the truth, those who are still tightly attached to their personal interests and power, are starting to do everything they can to hinder those who believe in God. They oppress the believers, chase them, and threaten them. I see a clear divide. Those who seek the truth will have to face a wall of hostility, of oppression. You see, God said, this is the challenge they must overcome. This awakening does not come without challenges. Those who choose me will have to endure hardships, but the truth will prevail. In the end, the light will triumph over the darkness. His words are like a powerful wave, sweeping me away in thought. I feel that despite the hardships, and even if sacrifices must be made, those who stand firm in the light of God will find true life and a peace that nothing can take away. But this awakening, I understand, will not come easily. It requires courage, faith, and a willingness to stand firm, even if the whole world turns its back. Then the Lord showed me another vision, which was a time when I felt a deep sorrow in my heart. In front of me is a scene that I could never imagine, families and loved ones standing apart. Familiar faces are now filled with pain and disappointment. The wounds never heal, and the words cannot be taken back. I can't help but feel sad when I see them, because I know they have lost the most important things: love, understanding, forgiveness. Jesus looked at me, his eyes seeming to pierce into my soul, and I understood. "This is a time of purification," he said. "Faith will be tested. People must choose love or hatred. These families will have to learn how to forgive and learn to look at each other with eyes of love." Then, like a magic trick, I saw the change. Despite the division, I see a smile for the first time, a hug full of forgiveness, a sincere apology, followed by a loving response. I see each piece in these families slowly coming together. Even though they aren't perfect yet, at least they have opened their hearts to each other. They understand that even though everything may be pushed away, only love and forgiveness can bring them back together. But Jesus looked at me with eyes full of urgency. "This time is fleeting," he said. "Not everyone will choose this path, but those who can will overcome challenges and will find unity and peace." And then I saw more clearly than ever before that time is not infinite. We only have one chance to change, to start over. The time for healing is a rare opportunity, and only those who dare to confront the truth, who dare to forgive, can find peace and healing. God has shown me that. We will have to face the challenges within ourselves, and it is up to us to decide whether we can overcome them or not. But if we know how to open our hearts to love and to forgive, then surely we will find the true path. To walk. Finally, Jesus led me to a place that I had never imagined I would be in my life. A place that is not filled with the gentle, warm light like before, but is instead illuminated by a strong light, like a sacred flame, radiating from him. In that light, I saw an unbelievable sight, the return of Jesus Christ. God stands there amidst the great clouds, and around him is an indescribable presence. Everything seems to stand still in a moment of silence, yet at the same time, it is full of movement. People from all over, from all eras, stand before him. The familiar faces, the people I will never forget, and even those I have never met. All right, I see a clear distinction. Jesus looked at each person, and his gaze was unmistakable. For the righteous, his gaze is filled with love, forgiveness, and joy. But for the wicked, that gaze emanated pain, regret, as if a chance had been lost forever. I can't help but feel the heaviness in the air, as if the whole world is listening for a final verdict. This is the moment of decision, he said, his voice gentle, yet full of power. Those who have persevered and have remained steadfast in their faith will be rewarded justly, but those who have rejected my light will face the punishment of the darkness they have chosen. However, I also noticed a miraculous thing. Although his gaze may be stern, it is not lacking in compassion. For you know, none of us is perfect, but you always give us the opportunity to change, to seek the truth. Finally, Jesus turned toward me, his gaze filled with peace, and he said to me, "Remember that. For those who are faithful and endure to the end, there will be eternal life. They will be welcomed into my kingdom, where there is no more suffering, no more tears, only complete joy." Your word is an absolute reassurance, a reminder that even though this life may have its difficulties and challenges, if we never give up our faith, if we persevere with love and loyalty, then, in the end, everything will become worthwhile. Jesus has shown me that in the final moments, hope and faithfulness are the most important things we can hold on to, and they are the key that opens the door to eternity. As the light gradually dimmed, I felt a strange sensation, as if everything was moving, but I couldn't do anything to hold on to it. Everything became silent, with only the voice of Jesus echoing, gentle yet powerful. He turned to look at me, his gaze seeming to penetrate deep into my soul. "The world is entering an unprecedented era," he said, each word clear as a warning that I could not forget. A heavy feeling enveloped me, yet it was also filled with hope. "I am always with those who believe in me," he continued, his words gentle as the breeze, yet full of power. I feel the comfort from each of those words, as if you are embracing me, giving me a sense of peace in my darkest moments. "Find peace in me amid the trials and chaos, and wait for me." His words painted a path before my eyes. That path is not always easy, but it is the path that leads to everlasting life and truth. As the vision gradually came to an end, I felt a strange sensation overflowing in my heart, a peace that I had never experienced throughout my life. I realized that I am not alone. Jesus is still there, by my side, even when I cannot see him. He has given me an endless love, an everlasting love that I cannot express in words. Then I felt a powerful pull, as if an invisible current was dragging me out of that world. I knew that my time in heaven was over. That feeling is really strange, both vague and clear. I don't want to leave, but I can't do anything else. The feeling of peace, the light, and that intense love were like an invisible string, pulling me away from there, back to this world. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in a hospital, and the feeling of pain in my body came rushing back immediately. My body feels heavy, and my mind is spinning. But as soon as I saw Sarah rush in and hug me tightly, I knew I had come back. She looked at me with a fearful expression, as if she were panicking at the thought that I was dead. "Thank you. Thank you for coming back. I couldn't bear to lose someone important to me again." She kept repeating, "Thank you. Thank you." I could feel her heartbeat, her worry, and the overwhelming joy when she saw me wake up. We were there, not needing to say much, just holding each other tightly. All the previous misunderstandings seem to have disappeared, and nothing seems important anymore. Then the doctors explained that my return was a miraculous thing. When I was brought to the hospital by an ambulance, my chances of survival were very low, and I was clinically dead for 13 minutes. I looked at Sarah, and even though I didn't say it out loud, I knew that my return was a miracle. The feeling of peace from heaven still lingered in me. It is like a thin veil covering my soul. But when faced with this reality, everything seems to become pale and indistinct. Then I told Sarah about what I had been through, but she couldn't understand. She thinks that it's just the hallucinations of someone who has just experienced trauma. I don't blame her, because how could I explain what I witnessed? How can I tell her about things that are beyond human understanding? And more importantly, I don't want her to be hurt by bringing up Atticus. Day by day, I gradually return to my normal routine. The physical wounds are gradually healing. Sarah and I's lives have gradually returned to a peaceful path. Every passing day, we find warm moments together, talking more, laughing, and sharing the simple things that I seem to have forgotten before. The stories about Jesus, about the images I have seen, and the words he taught me now seem to become distant. Those moments, those warnings, are still deeply etched in me. But in the hustle and bustle of daily life, they gradually fade away, like gentle breezes sweeping through my soul without leaving a trace. A part of me, a part that once fiercely wanted to share my story with the world, now suddenly forgets that mission. I feel like I have lost the most important part of my life, a significant responsibility that God entrusted to me. But then, in those moments of peace, I find myself asking, am I really ready to share that message with the world? Or am I just wanting to protect this peace, not wanting to disrupt the little world that Sarah and I have built? And then, in recent days, as winter slowly passes by and the new year is approaching, I experienced a strange dream, a dream that I could never forget. In that silent night, when the gentle breeze blew through the window, I saw Atticus. The boy stood under the soft golden light, which was not too glaring, but radiated a peculiar warmth, as if the entire universe was just waiting for something special. Atticus looked at me, his eyes sparkling and a warm smile on his face, a smile I would always remember, the smile of an angel. Then he said in a gentle yet persuasive tone, "Father, it's time. You have to tell everyone." I jolted awake, my heart pounding as if I'd just run a long distance, my eyes blurred with tears, and a choking feeling rose up inside me. There is something within me that sparks, a call I cannot ignore. I know that the dream is not just a product of my imagination, but a sign, a reminder that it's time for me to do something greater, to share my story with the world. But in my heart, I still feel a confusion, a gentle fear. Can I face this? Do I have enough courage to step out of the peaceful shadow that Sarah and I have built, to share the message that God has entrusted to me? One night later, when the clock struck 3 in the morning, my phone rang, the sound cutting through the silence of the dark night. I looked at the screen, but I didn't see anyone calling. There was just a strange number, and I felt that something was different right from that moment. When I picked up the phone, the other end was completely silent. Not a word was spoken, only a gentle song played. That sound is gentle, warm, like a wave from heaven, soothing and comforting. I listen, and it feels like I am being transported to another space, a place without worry, without the struggles of life. Everything seems to come to a halt. Time appears to slow down, leaving just me and that familiar singing, a voice I feel I've heard long ago from another world, from somewhere deep within my soul. A strange yet profound feeling spreads within me. I don't need to ask anyone. I don't need to analyze anything further. I know deep down in my heart this is a reminder from God. That feeling is like a ray of light piercing through the darkness, as if He wants me to listen, wants me to understand that no matter how hard life gets, He is always here, right beside me. And like a profound admonition, I feel a clear assurance. Keep going, my child. Do not stop. This reminder is from Him. The phone stopped ringing, and the song also came to an end. I sat there, tears still flowing, but deep down I suddenly felt a strange sense of peace. Those songs still echo in my mind, reminding me that my journey is not over yet, and it is time for me to complete the task that the Lord has entrusted to me. After that night, I knew that I couldn't remain silent any longer. The feeling inside me is not just an urge, but a responsibility I cannot deny. Those images, those sacred encounters I have experienced, those reminders from God, all of them, are yet to be fulfilled. I cannot keep these things to myself because I understand that a great mission awaits. I started to write down everything I had seen, felt, and experienced during that journey. I write every word, every sentence, with all my sincerity, as if I want to convey a part of myself onto those pages. I don't want to miss any of the smallest details or the deepest emotions. When I started sharing my story with Sarah, my wife, at first she was still skeptical, but in my eyes, she recognized the truth, an undeniable reality. She gradually came to trust and slowly understood that this was not an illusion, but a call from a higher place. And then I started sharing my story, not only with my wife, but also with friends and those around me. Thus, public conversations began. I could feel the power of my words, as if those words had the ability to touch other people's hearts. Each time I tell the story, I understand my mission more clearly. As the last days of the old year approach, my story is no longer just a narration, it is a warning bell, preparing for the challenges that will come in the new year 2025. I cannot remain silent, having witnessed the light of God, knowing that this world needs a spiritual preparation, and I understand that my journey is not just about me, but about all the people who need to be awakened, who need to be prepared for what is to come. This story is not just mine, but belongs to all of us, and I know I cannot remain silent any longer. In just a few days, we will enter the year 2025, and I want to share my story with even more people. I feel that it is my mission, a mission, not just for me, but for all of us. What I have witnessed and what I have learned during this sacred journey is not something I can keep to myself. I invite each of us to turn back to God, not only in times of trouble, but even when everything is fine, because only God is the true source of peace and strength. God's love never changes. That is the deepest feeling I have from those sacred encounters. No matter how the world changes or what challenges we face, that love always exists and remains enduring. Trust in Him, for He is the guiding light of our lives, and wait for Him in every moment of life. Faith in the Lord is a source of strength and unwavering peace that nothing can shake. I want you to understand that time is running out. We need to stay awake and prepare ourselves spiritually. We must be ready to face the challenges ahead. But I believe that if we trust each other and stand firm in our faith together, then nothing can hurt us. Don't let silence lead you astray. Share this story so more people can know about God's infinite love. Let His light shine upon this world. Do it not for me, but for what we can bring to the world, so that people can recognize the truth and prepare spiritually for what is to come. We can change this world starting with ourselves.